Hi everyone, welcome back to our AI in Action webinar series. My name is Kira Griffin and I'll be your host and moderator for today's session. For anyone new that's joining us for the first time, we really set up this webinar series to create a space for learning and collaboration to help our clients navigate the ever-evolving landscape that is AI. So today we'll be doing a practical live demo, which is definitely always a risk, but I'm sure Connor and Colm have a backup plan if ChatGPT is down.
Nope.
But yeah, so we're doing a practical demo. Back in August, we did a demo on prompt engineering to showcase the principles of prompt engineering and how it is a skill that we'll need to develop over the coming months and years. And I think a lot of people got value out of that. So this session is going to be a building block on top of that. We'll look at personalizing your AI tools. So for today's demo purposes, we'll be using ChatGPT, but again, this is applicable if you're using Gemini, Copilot, etc. We'll then look at building your own customized AI assistant. Again, across different platforms, this is called different things. On ChatGPT, it's a GPT. On Gemini, it's a Gem. But really, the overarching term is customized AI agents. We want you to get as much value as possible out of this session. So do pop in your questions in the Q&A box and we'll address them throughout the session. So I just want to keep front and center our Inspire framework. So we designed this framework to help our clients navigate implementing AI into their workflows and companies. There's a lot of great use cases out there, a lot of information, and for people struggling on not knowing where to start, this is a really useful framework to help you go through each step that's critical along the process. While I said each step is crucial, it does not need to be in a linear process. You can address each of these steps in parallel, so making it really adaptable and practical for each company. I won't go into each step because I'll be here for the 45 minutes, but I do want to highlight the first one there, investigate readiness and needs. This has came up in the last month. A lot of our clients, while speaking to them, they're really excited about AI and they see lots of different use cases and have lots of different ideas of where they can implement it, but really making sure you match that against your company goals and strategy is really important for a successful implementation. So with that said, I'd like to introduce our two presenters for today. Back again, we have Connor Flynn, our Head of Innovation at Trinzo. With over 20 years of experience in artificial intelligence, Connor previously founded a edtech company, and he's been in Trinzo for the last 3 years, so really helping our clients solve their challenges with this technology. Alongside him we have Colm O'Rourke, our quality and regulatory expert at Trinzo. Colm has over 10 years of experience in the industry with time at a notified body as well. So he's helping us apply this technology to the specific roles and tasks in quality and regulatory that are applicable. And I hope you see this value throughout the session. So Connor, I'm going to pass it over to you if you're ready.
Ready? Yes. Thank you, Kira. Hey, Colm, how are you?
I'm good. I'm ready to go.
Ready to go. So the first thing that we're going to look at today is personalizing your LLM, be it as Kira said, be it Copilot, be it ChatGPT, be it Gemini, Anthropic, or whatever. So I'm going to show you how to do this. As Kira said, it's slightly different in every LLM, but you'll figure it out as you're going along. So let me see. So
be prepared for me to interrupt you as well, Connor, as we go. Okay. I definitely will be. That's the plan.
Great stuff. So I clicked on this gem looking thing at the bottom here, and I'm going to personalization. Oh, sorry. Yeah. That's a kind of an important step. Let me go all the way back. So we've ChatGPT here, and down here I've got a gem looking thing, and I click on personalization. So I'm going to personalize the overall instance
Connor,
here.
can I know really early on, I'm cutting across you straight away. Before maybe you talk us through the process of that personalization, could we step back and just why? Like why would someone go to the trouble? Or maybe like what is personalizing, and then where's the value in doing it before we get too deep into the actual process of it?
That's a really good question, Colin. So fundamentally, these large language models are general purpose tools, and they live off context. So the better the context that we can give them, the more useful they are in terms of their output. So by personalizing just a little bit, you're immediately narrowing the context for the LLM and getting better quality or results or output that is more in line with what you want to see. Does
Okay.
that kind of answer your question?
Yeah, I think so. And obviously, as you go, we'll see more detail, but that's good. That makes sense.
And I suppose to the point that, well, how personalized you want to be, like there are different levels of personalization. So this is the very highest level, like so that it knows who you are and what you're doing and what you like. So I'm going to do this, but we can talk about it. We'll just look here. First, you can enable or disable the customization. Again, this is different in different models. You can just click on these things here if you want it to be in a certain way, but that's kind of like for home use rather than work use from my perspective. This is the key part from a work perspective, from my perspective, so far the custom instructions, where you want to tell it a little bit about yourself and what you like and what you don't like. Again, this nickname and occupation and more about you, it's up to you. The one thing I would say is staying at as high a level as possible here is beneficial, because if you think about it, every time your LLM runs, it will reference this. So if you're too prescriptive in here, you might narrow too far for specific tasks you want to do. And also you're using up a lot of the memory and the power if there's a lot in there before the job you actually want it to do. So because I use it for work 99% of the time, I've got this, which I've set up in Gemini, this sort of template, you might say, that suits me, but you can look up your own templates or think out your own way that you want to customize. Now, the first thing that I'd say is there's way too much stuff in here before we go through it. Go even lighter touch, particularly at the start if you can, but I put a fair bit in so that I could just give you indicative ideas, the idea of what I'm trying to do. So like the first section that I fill out is my core function and guiding principles. Now, in my other instances on Gemini, I just copy and paste my job description and every quarter put my priorities up against it so that it knows this is what I'm trying to achieve when I'm interacting with you. You could see here I've followed pretty standard format in terms of the role and giving it the instructions on what it wants to do. So your function is set to act as a strategic advisor and AI solutions architect for the life science, quality and regulatory domain. So I presume nobody else here on the call has that sort of responsibility. So put in whatever is relevant for you in here. Your persona is analytic, strategic, and intellectual. So I take this from my Clifton Strength profile and put that in. But again, that might be overkill for a lot of people. Your behavioral style must be calm, authoritative, knowledgeable, and direct. I'll let Kira talk to the first one there, but maybe I'm making up for some of the qualities I might miss. And then critical, all responses must implicitly reflect these principles. Do not explicitly state the persona or style you're using in your responses. So one of the things, if you're as prescriptive as this, every response that comes up will go due to this style and that style. So that's just annoying. So I'm cutting it out here. If I was you, I'd do much easier. My job is quality manager. I'm responsible for A, B, and C.
And you can refine this obviously as well, Connor. Like you
Oh, yeah.
maybe you start lighter touch, using it, you add a bit more, pare it back. Yeah, and that doesn't affect your ability to interact with it. You can customize as you go.
Oh, exactly. And then
Yeah,
if it's just rubbish, delete it and start again, you know.
yeah, yeah.
Um, then the strategic framework, this is kind of from my business goals. Again, whether this is important to you or not, it's important to me, but it's not so important to other people. So risk mitigation, patient safety are critical. And then the implementation of any AI solution, cost benefit analysis and ROI. Okay. Now, this is probably important for everyone because anyone who's used a bit of it gets this awful American spelling and stuff, or 15 adjectives for no value to the sentence that is being generated. But
No offense to our US listeners as well, I should add there, Connor.
Thank
Just
you.
depending what region you're dialing in from.
Yeah, thank you, Colin. You see, I need a filter. Where were you, Kira?
Yeah, yeah. Where's your personalization here?
So UK and Irish spelling. So give some examples there. There's some mini few shot prompting, and be concise because you know ChatGPT in particular can go on, and avoid conversational filler and unnecessary adjectives because that just annoys me. But maybe some people like it. And then the last section here, I put in core constraints. I recommend you don't do this until you're up and running. But the idea here, you can imagine I'm having to jump across many areas that I'm not an expert in. So I tell it to anything legal, medical, regulatory, flag it to me so that I can check off Colm or Liam or anyone else within the company. Like there are more things in here. It's up to you. Memory is important. So that it doesn't forget stuff, but eventually that gets clogged up and you get your context rot, so need to open up new things. But it's good to train your GPT on what you like and what you don't like. Okay, save. Now all of a sudden my GPT is going to be much better. Will I move on to the actual GPT that we built?
Yes, I
Yeah.
think so. And maybe to introduce that. So like the personalization you have done is across any GPT, any individual GPT slash agent slash assistant bot, whatever term we want to use. The personalization you have just done applies to all of them. And now the next part we're going to look at is creating a specific agent assistant bot, whatever we're calling it, to look at. In this case, it's going to help us with some kappa tasks. But the personalization kind of sits above that, and we're moving a layer down, more specific now. Is that a fair kind of overview?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
spot on. So Patrick said you can't do this in their internal ChatGPT instance, but you can definitely do this in Copilot, building agents for specific tasks or building customized assistants for specific tasks. Now, when choosing a GPT or to build, so we have 5 dimensions that you would consider before building your own GPT. Now, the first dimension is repetition. So is this a task that you do again and again and again? So you're copying and pasting again and again and again and again. Well, then that might be a good candidate for building a customized GPT. The second one is consistency. So like you touched on this a little bit, Colin, in terms of I want the output to fill out this template. And I want Column's template to be the same as Kira's template, to be the same as Connor's template, if you know what I mean. This could possibly be a shared GPT. So I'm taking lots of information from different places and I want it to be in a standardized output, like formatting kappa reports or something.
Yep.
Then if there's specific knowledge that you need, so you want to train up a GPT, we were talking this morning, Colin, if you're launching a product into Korea, for example, South Korea, that is, you might want to prime it with specific information about the regulatory environment in Korea. And it might be worth building a specific GPT to put any documentation or any thoughts you have through that lens before moving it on. The fourth dimension is complexity. So if you have a multi-step risk assessment per ISO, what is the one we do? 14, 13,
14971.
14971. Okay. If you have many steps to go through and you want to follow those steps closely, you can build a GPT to guide you through those steps. And then for delegation, like if there's something that you keep asking a junior member of staff or someone else to do, and like poor Kira, I've just described you as a junior member of staff, but you know what I mean.
I think we need to update your personality, Conor. There's something off with it.
Whenever I don't like doing something, I'd go, Kira, can you do this? But what Kira should be doing is, you've sent me this thing 5 times in the last week, build your own bloody GPT for it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Any questions?
And Kira has put them in the chat as well. That's for anyone else to see the 5 points that we're talking about. So these 5 points kind of help you identify tasks or processes or areas that are ideal candidates for building an individual assistant agent, bot.
Yeah, just think of it as a scoring 1 to 5. 1, like repetition 1, I do it 10 times a week. 5, I do it once a month. Go 1 to 5 all the way across. And if you see 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, that's likely to be a good opportunity to build a GPT. If you see 1, 5, 5, 5, it may be repetition, but like it's unlikely to be the greatest opportunity. It might be, but like just as a sense check before you start building stuff. Okay. All right. Will I get on to the build?
Yes.
Okay, here comes the fun and games. How do we build in ChatGPT? Now, I build all my stuff in Gemini. So here I'm going to GPTs. You can see some of the ones I prepared earlier. I can see my GPTs in here, and I can create a new one, which is what I am going to do now. And now, health warnings all over this GPT, but I've done too many things just to be indicative, if you know what I mean, so that you can understand what I'm trying to do. Okay. So create new GPT. Number 1, I need to configure it. Normally it'll open up here on this create and it'll help you build one, but I know what I'm at. Well, I think I know what I'm at. So I'm going to go to configure. And as before, I have everything prepared in advance. So this is Deviation and Kappa First Draft Assistant. And the description of it is...
I think while you're adding those, Conor, I might add a point here as well that's really, really important is like you have to, so the Kappa process is an enormous process. You have to take it in bite-sized chunks if you're creating an agent to help you, right? So you can't, you could create an agent that you would try to use to drive efficiency, because that's really what these are at this stage. They're efficiency tools across your entire Kappa process. One agent isn't going to be able to do that effectively. So whether it's Kappa or whatever other regulatory or quality system process or operations is, I mean, we're all in industry trained to think from a process perspective. So you should know the different steps in your process, and you choose discrete steps and then build and deploy an agent in that step. So we're focusing here on deviation and the first draft assistant, not the entire process, because your accuracy just gets lost the broader, the wider the net you cast, I suppose.
Okay. So we can see here, this is an expert assistant for drafting compliant and consistent Kappa and deviation reports based on our quality system. Okay. So now I'm going to go through a bit of the fun here. So you can see you are an expert quality assurance specialist with deep experience in medical device manufacturing environments governed by all of this. So again, I've set up the persona of, just like remember our prompt engineering sessions for any particular chat. Hopefully you're starting to see how if you learn how to prompt engineer, you can then use the same skills in order to build assistants. And then you can use the same skills again in order to build agents. So that's why prompt engineering, if you have a basic understanding of prompt engineering, It makes such a difference the whole way through your AI journey. So your purpose is to act as an AI solutions architect. Okay, all right, that your knowledge is based on that. Now I've broken it into steps here. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, which is a little bit over engineering for an individual agent, but again, this is for description purposes. This is for educational rather than practical purposes. So step 1, initial context gathering, non-negotiable. So before generating any structure, you must ask the user to provide the following information. And I've got it here: problem statement, description of non-conformance, immediate actions. So I've broken this like a standard Kappa form into a, right, first you have to collect information. Then step number 2, I've got the
Connor,
bot
can you
to
make that window bigger? Sorry, I just see there's a little arrow at the bottom right. Does that allow you to expand the window? It might be just conscious, might be hard for people. Of the actual instructions window. Yes, there we go.
Here's the genius. Thank you,
Don't need no agent for that.
Tech expert.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can see it much cleaner there. You see the different steps that I've gone through. Again, this is way over engineered, guys. You'd want to pull back, and it's also trying to take on too much, but it's for instructional purposes. So step 1, gather the context, problem statement, description of the non-conformance, and immediate actions. You'll see the way this is kind of a preference of me. I like to see these agents as my assistant. So I want to work with them. So rather than putting in specific things, I tend to set up the agents to ask me questions to gather the information that they need in order to assist me. Other people don't use that style, but I just prefer it myself, if you know what I mean. So you can see here, acknowledge that you've got it, summarize it back, populate this, and then move on to the next section. And it'll ask me for the next part, and then it'll follow the same thing, and then it'll ask me for the final part and give me a final fill. So the idea of do something much, much simpler than this for your first one. Maybe like the problem statement generator, that you want your problem statement to always follow your company's policies and procedures. Start building one of those first. Take something much smaller. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's the thing I mentioned earlier about consistency. I think that's a good point to bring it in there, where and problem statements is a good example. Like, you know, from quality system auditing perspective, like we know quality system or problem statements need to be, you know, concise. They need to reference the problem in particular. They need to cite the objective evidence. There's a few standard things, you know, and there's some acronyms a few different ones that exist. That different companies will know how they want their problem statement written, and through training an agent to do that, then if you have a team of internal auditors that are using that agent, then you know you're getting a consistent output. And that's just one example. There's obviously, you can apply that logic across many different sections. And you could say, well, we have a template for that. But this is like really what you're getting to here is that a next level up from a template. It's more interactive. And like you say, Connor, the way that you have that program there is it actually it's dragging the information from you. So you are prompting it to ask these questions because you know those are the pertinent questions. And then I have to put in the information and then it configures it the way I want. So like, I think there's an important point here is so you can create agents or assistants to support you in your individual productivity. So, you know, we were talking earlier, we mentioned an agent to help you organize your day. Right, that's one thing. Something like this is more of a team-based or a department-based agent, and it's being created by, you know, leadership in a particular section because they have determined that this is the way we want to tackle this particular issue. So I suppose it's for everyone here listening in to understand that there are many, many different applications, both from personal efficiency all the way up to standardizing output of entire teams and departments. But fundamentally, you have to understand what you're showing us, Connor, here, how to actually set it up, because otherwise your output is not going to be worth it.
Yeah, very much so. Conversation starters I never put in, but particularly if you're sharing it, it's a good idea to prompt that. Please upload your, what was this, the problem statement, detailed description, and initial actions. I'm not going to type that in. Knowledge here is what documents do you want it to refer to? So I've said in the chat there that I wanted to refer to the SOPs. So I'm going to upload Emerald Life Science Kappa SOP there. Go on, tell me you'll do
Totally
it.
fictional as well. Just
Oh yeah.
knows that.
And I've uploaded the document. Again, this is narrowing the context and saying, this is the world I want you to live in. This is what I want you to refer to. Now, you can get real complex here, whether you want a web search canvas within this. It's different in Gemini. It's different again in Copilot, so I won't go into that. I wouldn't suggest fiddling with models at this stage, and particularly if you're in Copilot or in your own default engine, you won't have that option. But that's something that when you get a bit more advanced, you can get your idea around. So again, you see here, I've got the name, the description, the instructions, and the knowledge base uploaded. And now let's cross our fingers and hope it works. This is where it all goes sideways, isn't it?
We need airplane music.
There we go.
Okay, so we've got our deviation and kappa first draft assistant. In general, when you're using these tools, you should think that a really good use case is the first draft. So now just to test it out, I have a pre-prepared and checked with column problem statement. You can see this. Problem statement, detailed description of non-conformance, and immediate actions and containment. So the problem statement is here. I presume that's good. We've identified a statistically significant trend of customer complaints describing blah, blah, blah. Detailed description of it here revealed a compliant rate of this, that, and the other. Immediate actions and containment, we put a quality hold on, health hazard evaluation, and complaint data isolation. So I will press go, and hopefully that'll fill out a lot of the template for me and prompt me to put in more information. Fingers crossed.
I think this, it just to highlight again as well, like, there isn't an agent that's going to do your kappa for you. Like you can see from what Connor has put in there, like that's regular kappa stuff that anyone needs to do. So what we're using this for here is like all the things is doing for us right now. We would have to do anyway. It's part of our kappa process anyway, but it's just doing them in a much, much more efficient way and standardizing the output and removing a large element of human error. So again, like coming back to that bite-sized chunks, and it's not taking over your kappa process. I mean, if you say that to an auditor, you're going to terrify them. But you are using a tool to support a particular part of your kappa process. Just to reiterate that.
Okay. So now it's asked me to do stuff that I don't fully understand, but luckily I have something prepared earlier. So an impact assessment.
Thank God, I thought you were going to ask me on the spot.
So here we go. Impact assessment, product impact. Total lots of that was distributed, the quality system, validation control, and post-market surveillance. So I can imagine I would get that information from someone like Colin. Or I'd have information in a document that normally I'd have to read, understand, question, everything like that. You can see it's added that here now to the template. Notice I programmed in this disclaimer the whole way through. You should have this for anything that you're using for work. The next step, it's looking for root cause analysis. So please put in your root cause analysis. So here I've got my root cause analysis done. because I know you can do that in about 30 seconds in real life. So root cause analysis, a fishbone Ishikawa diagram was used, and so on and so forth. That information goes in.
Yeah, while it's working there, do we want to just see if there's any questions before we get to the end of this process as we're going? Anyone want to, if you don't want to stick in the chat or come off mute and ask it out loud?
I have a question there, Colin, while we're waiting for people to pop it in. Just in terms of GPTs and other examples, what GPTs do you have set up, Colin, for your own work?
Yeah, it's a good question. Like only recently have I started be using ChatGPT a good bit for work, but only recently started with the actual building a GPT. And the one that I started with was significant change assessment GPT. So, and I did it in ChatGPT. So exactly what Connor has shown us there, except not as detailed as what he did, but in the attachments. So I added, added 13485, added a copy of the MDR, added MDCG guidance documents, NBOG guidance documents. So any guidance I felt that was valuable, put it in there and described what I wanted it to do. So that was a use case for me, was a significant change assessment agent. And then I kept adding to it because I didn't want the hassle of creating a new agent. So I've kept adding, and I'm sticking, biocomp standards in there and asking it about that. And it's got to the point now where it's overloaded, like you mentioned, Connor. It's not gone. It's gone past the point of being specific now. So I know I need to break that into a few different agents. But that was just my initial playing around with this. What about you, Kira? What agents do you use? It's like a dinner party conversation.
Yeah. Well, I have a lot. For example, for setting up the webinar descriptions, I have one for webinar follow-ups, tracking actions after meetings. So I take the transcript from calls and pop it in to my agent, and it will give me in the format I want it, because I don't really like the way Copilot summarizes meetings. I have a weekly email drafter as well. So lots of different tasks, but like that, the more specific the task is, the more effective it is. I see my weekly email update. There's a lot more editing and reviewing needed, but the smaller the task is, the more confident and more accurate it is.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
And it's interesting also the inputs into these agents. Sometimes you upload a document and it does it for you. I have an agent that you put in the website of a company and it fills out in the template, this is the information that you want to have, and does a web scrape of any up-to-date information on it. And Ciara was saying the weekly review one. On Thursday evenings, Ciara and I just talk. You get the transcript of that and just pop it into the agent and it populates it. So there's different input methods as well. And then I was thinking, so my son now has got really excited. He says he loves Gemini. So in the evenings, I write in, create a story with these 5 words for my 7-year-old son. And he says a word, I say a word. And then he reads the story, and then we get it to generate questions for him. Now, I do that manually at the moment, but I should build a GPT. He just sticks in the 5 words and goes, and then it generates a quiz when he's ready. But he loves doing it. He's 7. So, yeah.
Jesus, what kind of skills will that generation have in 10 years?